So yeah, hi. Obviously struggling making these videos. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the most adept, or best person to probably be doing this, but unfortunately, we got. Um, you know, um, I'm all you've got, and I'm all I've got. So I suppose I'm the only person for the job. Um, So yeah, if you haven't seen my previous videos or any of my other videos, I made some quite crazy claims. In August, I had a channel, which is mainly just family and friends, um, and I posted on there to suggest I'm being followed or tracked down and stalked by Zionists, extreme Zionists. Um, and then I basically just went dormant. Following the advice of my family, they believed that probably the best course of action for myself was to delete the channel. Um, you know, um, and maybe I was being a bit crazy, which obviously is not what I believe. I believe I'm being absolutely factual and truth, and I know it to be the truth. But I took their advice in any event, because I realized, I suppose, some part of me realized that maybe perhaps I'd also be, I don't think I was ready for any of it. Um, to be honest, I wasn't really sure what was going on when I did make that video. But I just made the claims anyway. Because I felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. I felt like my life was maybe in danger, which it still might be. I don't know. But obviously I'm not dead yet. Um, but I mean, what happens if you know a lot of critical information? You might be considered a liability, and at some point, action might be taken to end your life. So I think the best course of action for myself is, as well as the fact that, family's applying pressure onto myself. There's arguments almost daily. Um, and I don't know if this is because they want to stop me from doing what I'm doing, or other reasons, which I'm not going to get into. I don't want to make any accusations, um, but it's very possible as well that it is true that they might be trying to stop me from speaking out because they also fear that I'm right, and they are. So yeah, like I said, it's very possible, that they're trying to stop me from speaking out because they believe I'm right, and they are scared of any possible um, consequences of me doing this. Which the other day, to be fair, my brother will probably never admit. There might be some truth in what I'm saying, but he did say to me, I want you to take down your channel, because I'm scared my family's at risk, um, because of what you're doing. And I do also believe that there's been a direct attack, on my family as a result of what I said, on the original videos on the 8th of August. Um, you know, and in that 2 month window, I hadn't actually, done anything, uploaded anything. I actually took down my channel. Um, so yeah, that I don't want to throw around, possibilities. That's going to be looked into, and we'll find out what actually happened regarding that. Um, but yeah, it's obviously no laughing matter, no joking matter. You know, don't think I want to be in this situation because of sheer will. Just so happens I'm in it, and I believe it's because of what I know, which I'll get into in a second. I believe it impacts, massively, almost every single person on earth. It impacts humanity at large, um, and it's going to change the course of the future, of history. Um, So yeah, I'm kind of forcing myself to make these videos, and you know, if I need to start going full time and doing it, I will do. It's not something I can afford to do at the minute though, and I won't be doing. Um, so yeah, I probably maybe expect a video every other weekend, or twice a month or something. But I will be explaining some of the claims I made, which very briefly. Um, some of the information I'm aware of is basically the plan of these extreme Zionists to change humanity, um, and I believe they're using um, religion as a means for their own personal gain, and political gain. And what I mean by that is, in Judaism, I believe there's a particular prophecy that at the end of times, at the end of the world, there will be a massive war where Israel will fight off against the entire world, and it will win this battle. And it will win this battle, and it will usher in a new form of peace in the world. Now, sounds good. um, there's obviously alternative theories or prophecies in Islam, though. However, um, and that's to do with the Dajjal, which is basically the Antichrist, um, and that there will be a massive war during the end of times, and the Antichrist will confuse people. There'll be a time of um, I believe it will make things appear to be sweet, or pleasing. So I can't remember the exact quote, but yeah, he will also, he'll confuse the truth with lies. So I mean, I look at Mr. Netanyahu, and it's something that he obviously does very blatantly, and so do many other extreme Zionists. They'll blatantly tell you that there isn't a genocide going on, and they'll blatantly pay people. These are desperate people, mind you. Obviously, it's the world at the minute is not a very nice, forgiving place. Everyone's in it for themselves, and if someone can make a quick buck, they will do. Um, so yeah, these people are obviously offering money to people left, right, and centre to kind of help their narrative, which we even seen in London so recently, where there was apparently a march to um, protect the UK, and there was a bunch of Israeli flags for some reason. Um, so yeah, I think Zionism has a massive impact. So yeah, I actually believe, they're not going to usher in a peace. They're going to usher in a form of dominant control, um, and they will do so by force. And what I mean by that is, it's ultimately, I believe, a multi-step plan. They'll be, you'll be seeing it at the minute, where the West is almost like it's intentionally, going down a very bad path. It's not doing very well economically. You look at some of the countries and nations in Europe, um, and there's mass poverty. Um, the middle class is dying off, and you're just going to see more and more of that. Um, there's obviously a power play for natural resources, which we've seen with the war with China, which America is currently, in a trade war. It's not meant to be a direct war, but they're doing it for resources. And there's also the war in Ukraine, again resources, and again the war in Palestine. Again, there's a lot of natural resources there as well as the fact that the war with Palestine, it helps achieve a religious aim for these fanatics. Um, you know, um, Achieving Israel and then also Greater Israel, which is something that they've suggested, and I absolutely believe it's on their agenda. Um, it's almost akin to Lebensraum or living space, as the Germans would put it. So yeah, pretty fucking crazy. So you've got that, and then they'll ultimately bring in digital IDs, which we're already seeing to control the population. They'll bring in digital currencies to control the population further. And this is, every nation. They're already currently controlling the politicians and the policies across so many countries. They influence it, whether that's through blackmail like Jeffrey Epstein or, the Diddy. Um, you've seen the influence, you'd have to be blind not to. They control the politics, but they want to physically control the population as well now, because that's the greatest threat. Um, so yeah, I think they're going to do that through digital currencies, where if let's say you live in Manchester, if you go to try to spend your money in Liverpool or anywhere else, let's say, um, your card physically wouldn't work. So if you're on a lockdown, you can't travel. They'll have technologies like Uber, which will be the go-to and the only option. You no longer have a car. You'll be, um, unable to afford one. So that kind of shared travel will be the only option, as well as public transport. They'll probably bring in some form of, I suppose, carbon tax, or some kind of social security system, where that you know if you're spending, or if you're you're doing too much for your car, if you're not bringing in your weight, as you're expending in, let's say, resources, that'll cut you off. You'll naturally die, and this is what they think it is. I think it's the next step of evolution. But they're very small-minded people. They're obviously unaware that the universe is vast and large, and rather than killing people, because obviously with AI, they think that AI, they no longer the population no longer needs to be 8 billion. It's far too many wasteless eaters. Um, why have 8 billion when you could probably suffice off one? A few 100 million slaves, and robots. So yeah, I think there'll probably be a mass culling, and at some point, maybe not soon, but at some point eventually. But again, like I say, it's very pathetic. The universe is vast and very large. You look at some people that are suggesting, we become an interplanetary species, and actually travel to other planets, and you know, there's abundance of material, of resources out there in the universe. Calling your name, and instead you want to focus on becoming the new pharaohs of modern times, dominating humans, to ultimately just maintain your power and authority. Um, and that's people like Benjamin Netanyahu, who obviously, the whole war in Palestine, it could be argued, was started so he may stay in power. Someone who's obviously done a lot for power in the last, 20 years. You had the attacks in 9/11, and then the following wars with the Bush and the Obama eras, which, were probably brilliant for Mr. Netanyahu, and, the population of Israel are helping, radicalize these people and thinking they know who the enemy is, and that they're doing such a great job at killing the Arabs, which is something that they believe in. Um, it's disgusting. It's disgusting, if you ask me. Um, Again, it's smart people. They're obviously very smart. They're great thinkers. That's one thing you can't knock about them. They've played the previous presidencies, like a game. you know, like a jigsaw puzzle. They just knew where to apply the pressure points, and they've had it all down to a T. And these presidencies have caved. They've caved under the pressure, and who'd blame them? And that's why I believe we're living in one of the most interesting times for the last 100 years. This is going to be the defining moments of humanity. And if I wouldn't speak about this, if I would be too worrying about myself, my family, I think it'd be a shame. And I'd probably regret it. So if this does have negative effects, then so be it. But yeah, you might start seeing more videos from me. You might not. We'll see how it goes. Depends on how much free time I've got. But yeah, that's just a brief introduction.